and gentlemen, to a bit of a new experimental video today. And today, I think this one's going to be very fascinating indeed to see who comes out on top. As you can see, that's a very different looking Premier League table. Really? There's no more midfield teams. Only Europe's elite. We've had to keep Newcastle, sort of, because Newcastle are the only variable option. But, okay, at the end of the day, more or less, this is Europe's best teams in Europe competing in the Premier League in English football. You know, we're going to be taken as Barcelona manager. We cannot make any signings, you know, this window. I want to see, firstly, we're going to do like 2 seasons, okay, and we're going to see how, let's say, each team performs, during the 2 seasons. I want to see how, like, the lower teams, the promoted teams will do. I want to see how then some teams will do in the Championship as well. So it's effectively doing 3 seasons, you know, worth of this experiment. I want to see which teams get relegated, which teams get, you know, promoted, you know. And yeah, I just want to see what actually, all in all, happens overall, like, you know. And I think this will be, like, very, very interesting. Now, to basically, let's say, not affect it too much, I'm not really going to make any fundamental changes to this Barcelona squad. You know, like, it shouldn't be all to change overall. It should be fairly all kept the same, which I think is fair, because at the end of the day, if we kept on changing the squad, we can make number of changes, let's say, and yeah, it wouldn't be, I don't think, that great of a, let's say, experiment, would it? If we kept on making numerous changes by numerous different players. But yeah, season 1, obviously. Obviously, Champions League, the cups are still on. Okay, we'll see who wins which, and how they do in each, let's say, you know, in each scenario. By the way, we will pause it, you know, by the way, at the midway point. So yeah, we'll see. So right now, I'm not sure how things are going, of course, because we've just started this out, really. By the way, I'm playing a new app on my phone today called 270, which is basically a presidential election. I'm not going to call it a simulator, but it is a bit of a simulator, we could argue, where you sort of try and win states of America. You know, it's like the election campaign. It's not a bad game, like not greatest, I guess you could argue at the same time. Depends which way I guess you look at it. I like it anyway. It's a decent game during my spare time to play. It's a good game, have to be said. Right now, I've got 556 delegates. Whether that means, don't know. Right now I'm winning though, put it that way. You know. Yeah. Right, we're gonna pause it probably in a minute or two. the simulation, as you can see. So, as you can see, basically it's every single team, or Europe's elite, basically the Champions League every single weekend, or week. You could argue. I don't know whether it's better than the Champions League, if you know what I mean, but it basically is the Champions League every single week. Overall, that's what we're doing here right now. And as I say, it is an experiment, like this is, to see what would happen in this scenario. Let me know who you think, if this actually was real, as in it was a real scenario, who you think would actually win the Premier League if we had all these different teams, basically Europe's elite in the Premier League. Personally, myself, I genuinely do not know who would win it, but I would like to think it would be, competitive. Well, it would be competitive, we have to say that. But, yeah, I really, really don't know who would actually win it. I think it'd be very, very tough, one, overall. I genuinely do think that, but, as I say, it's very difficult to tell sometimes from a simulation. Right, we're now going to pause it, as we're now basically halfway through the league season. So let's find out how things have evolved. We've got Tottenham next in the Premier League. So, right. So, we are top of the table, joint with Liverpool, followed very closely by City and Atletico. Okay? Interestingly, Dortmund are then in 5th. Okay, that's interesting. Bayern Munich, 10th. A good 10 points off. But it's rather close. Really, very close, in fact. Let's have now a look back at the bottom part of the table. Any surprises there? Maybe Ajax. I would expect Ajax to be doing a little bit better. Monaco, to some degree. Newcastle, not really too surprised. But certainly with Ajax and Monaco, I would expect them to be a bit closer to Leicester and Leverkusen. Man United, not doing too bad. 13th right now, which isn't too bad for them. Arsenal. But yeah, in terms of all the English clubs, well, two of the English clubs, Liverpool and City, very good. Spurs not too far off. Chelsea, a little bit lower down, but certainly not anywhere near the drop zone. So, yes, looking interesting indeed, to say the least. Let's see how the second part of the season goes. Let's see how things evolve now, and skip to the end of the season after that Leverkusen game, of course. So, obviously, as you can see, you're still simming through the season. Sorry about lack of commentary, but not really too much to really commentate on, if you know what I mean. You know, overall. So, yeah, not too much to commentate on, really, to tell you the truth. So we're now in March, obviously. So season's progressing quite nicely, I would have to say. Overall, not doing too bad. So right, we're at the end of the season now. As you can see, let's have a quick look at how things are gone. Obviously, we've still got some competitions that we need to analyse, like UEFA Champions League. So let's have a quick look who's in final. Everton vs Liverpool. Okay, that's interesting. Super Cup was won by Liverpool. Asian Cup won by us. Carabao Cup won by Man City. Emirates Cup, obviously still to be decided. Juventus vs Barca. And Premier League, here we go then. So, Man City wins the Premier League, but only on a goal difference. Nothing really more splitting the two sides then. Both having 26 wins, 9 draws, 3 defeats. 92 goals, really, probably that's where things went wrong for Barca. Less goals scoring, which isn't always good. But yeah, you know, Barcelona loses the Premier League then on goal difference. Paris Saint-Germain finishes third, Liverpool fourth, Real Madrid in fifth. So yeah, what surprises me though, the gap between us and Paris Saint-Germain and Liverpool and the rest. Really, us and Man City really probably sort of dominated then this season overall. Almost, you could argue then here. Let's see who went down then. And, right, no shock. Newcastle relegated. Ajax, yeah, also having a bad season. No better really than Newcastle really than there, really. Only goal difference, even that not that great for them. What surprised me, again, Monaco. The gap between Monaco and Ajax, 10 points almost between them two. So yeah, you know, quite a big difference in goal difference. But, yeah, in terms of anyone else surprising me, everything else seems rather how I would have thought it would be. No real major surprises. Right, let's now check the other leagues, how them other leagues have been affected quickly. So, the leagues obviously we need to check is this league here. So, right, first one then there, Villa. First one now I noticed in 11th, Bournemouth, 6th place in their first season in the French league. Not bad then there for them. But yeah, no real surprises then I guess there. It was Marseille taking the step up then. Bundesliga, Frankfurt taking that step up then, replacing Bayern Munich as the best. Burnley in their first season in the German league, the Bundesliga, finishing 9th. Crystal Palace 7th, which isn't too bad indeed, I don't think. Norwich survive. No, do Norwich survive? No, they don't. Sorry, Norwich getting relegated, but didn't do too bad actually. Norwich didn't. Then there, in 17th. So yeah, some interesting ones. Brighton 11th. You know, so yeah, some interesting results in there. Right, let's go Serie A trim. And yeah, Lazio taking then the step up then there, but Wolves not doing too bad, 6th place. Everton in 7th. Um, Again, no real shocks. I wouldn't describe anything as a shock then there. Right, next we need to go to the Dutch League. And West Ham wins the Dutch League in their first and only season so far in the Dutch League. West Ham wins it quite comfortably then there by a good 6-point gap. 32 wins to 2 draws. 34 played, obviously. I don't know whether there's any more games to play there. I don't think there is, if I'm correct. Any more shocks? No, not really. So yeah, West Ham wins that. Wow, what a season for them. Right, I think just got Spanish League to have a quick look at, and then we're done. So Valencia wins the Spanish League. Watford comes home in 11th, Southampton home in 14th. Sheffield does get relegated, interestingly, into the La Liga second division. So, yeah, no real, surprises there, I guess. And, yeah, that's, I think, all the leagues in Europe that we sort of took teams from, as you can see. So, really, it's just 4 leagues. Right, now time to skip to the end of the season to see what actually happens and takes place. Of course, this season been a bit of an interesting one, to say the least. But yeah, I'm well excited now because it was very exciting to see what actually happened then there. Overall, surprised to see some teams do better and some teams do worse, in some sense. Very surprised about Ajax's performance all season long. I would have thought Ajax could have done a little bit better than there, to tell you the actual honest truth. I don't really think Ajax did the greatest of jobs, but, again, that's just a bit of a surprise, overall, for me. Yeah. So, obviously, again, we're going to simulate Season 2. Again, and we'll see what actually happens in Season 2. If you know what I mean. Hopefully we can have a decent Season 2. You know what I mean. I hope Season 2 will be good indeed. But yeah, obviously it'll be now interesting to see how some of these promoted teams do. We'll have to check who gets promoted into, the next division of the league. Obviously, I think it will be interesting to see who comes out on top and who doesn't, again, but I'll be mainly focusing on how now the small teams do. So, for instance, let's say Barnsley gets promoted. I want to see how they do, and I want to see how the Championship now will be sort of sorted out, if you get where I'm coming from. Because I know, for example, how things went for us, but what I'm trying to say, I'm not too sure how it will now all plan out with basically this now second season. It could be a very interesting state of affairs, I think, to say the least. But yeah, we'll soon find out what actually happens. In this career mode. And hopefully it'll be quite interesting results again in Season 2. But yeah, season one doesn't really shock you as much, I don't think necessarily, because as I say, for me, okay, really, it's not about. It didn't really shock me to see, um, you know, City win the league. Like, bit of a shock to see maybe Ajax get relegated. It ain't really a surprise to see Norwich get relegated. You know what I mean? Like, that to me doesn't shock me all too much. Bit of a surprise to see Norwich get relegated. Bit of a surprise maybe see some other teams get relegated as well. But none of it really shocks me, as in sends a shockwave through my body and makes me think, oh, that was a bit interesting. Why did that happen? Not really, no. But in the second season, I'd be or like to know how now some smaller clubs will do against maybe some of the more bigger clubs like Barcelona and all that. Like, so how will Barnsley fare, or let's say, I don't know, Norwich or a team in the lower division fare compared to a team in a much higher division? So, for instance, let's have a quick look at the Premier League now this season and how it's going to shape up to be. Right, so teams we got in the Premier League this season. Leeds are one of those. Who else? So Leeds, Cardiff and Bristol. So that's what I mean. It'll be interesting to see how they fare. Will they get no points? Will they get points? How many points will they achieve? What is going to be the outcome of all of this? Like, again, we'll skip to mid-season first. We'll see how we go. So we'll skip to the 29th, see how it all goes. Hopefully it goes well, in our favour, I hope. And hopefully we can see what actually happens, and get an answer, like, to what's going to happen sort of thing. I think that'll be very interesting to find and intriguing to find out what's going to happen, overall. I certainly would say, like, yeah, still. Let's get fascinated, I guess. So, obviously, we're now just in August, so season should be soon starting. Overall, and yeah, so far, as I say, going to be interesting to see who takes the league. Again, but really what I'm focusing on isn't necessarily who takes the league, but it's who does, like, any surprises. That's what I'm trying to focus on. Because I wouldn't be surprised if Barca won the league. You know what I mean? Like, I'd be surprised if maybe Leeds won the league. Yeah, I'm very surprised. But I want to see how the smaller clubs fare against now these. I'm not going to call them giants, but they are giants of European football. And yeah, they are actually giants, kind of think of it. They're big giants of football, overall. So yeah, it'd be interesting to see how the giants of English football cope against maybe the not so big ones. That'll be interesting to sort of evaluate. Like, will one team progress more than another? Will, like, a team get caught out snoozing? I genuinely do not know. what's going to happen in this second season. So, yeah, we're looking pretty good right now. Hopefully. Hopefully we can do some business, shall we say. So, obviously, soon we're going to see how, obviously, things look in the leagues around the world. We'll find that out, all that information. As I say, hopefully things are going the way we would want them to go, if that makes sense. Don't necessarily all have to go in our favour, so long though they're going the way we would want them to go. I think that's the key thing for me right now at this stage in the season overall, if you get where I'm coming from. So yeah, so long they're going in the right direction, I'm very, very happy indeed. So yeah, we'll soon find out how things are going in a moment's time. But yeah. Right, so we're now at the halfway stage in the season. We're going to have a quick look at how the league's going overall. Hopefully it's going all well. We're in 4th, which isn't too bad, isn't too shabby. And yeah, virtually all those that have been promoted, okay, have basically not done too well. Except Cardiff. Cardiff hasn't done overall too badly, I don't think. It's fair to say. So, yeah, we're going to go on with the second half of the season now. We'll see how the second half goes. Then that'll be the end of today's video. We'll analyse also how the other leagues have been affected. And hopefully there are some maybe interesting, well, to say the least, results from other leagues, which there could be. You just do not know. I don't think how things would have gone. But we'll soon find out. So, obviously, we're doing pretty good right now. So, we're in May now. And right now we're doing okay. Right, so here we go then. So we've made it once again to the FA Cup final. Once again, but this time we're facing Man City. Let's have a quick look how things went in the Premier League. Then we'll go to the Champions League and see how things went. So, Liverpool won the league again. We came home in second place. Again, scoring just two less points shy of last season overall. No real surprises again, I wouldn't have said. In terms of those who got relegated, well, it was the three that got promoted in the first going out. Cardiff, Leeds and Bristol. So, yeah, them three getting relegated. In terms of other competitions, FA Cup, obviously we're in the final. Champions League, we came home in, let's see how far we got. Oh, don't want to do that again. Want to do that. Come on, R2. That's it. R2D2. We came home in 4th, let's say. Then there. Quickly now looking at other leagues. So again, looking at same leagues that, well, changed. Let's have a look at the Championship. So Newcastle instantly getting promoted. Not undefeated. Sorry, not a invincible season in the Championship, but they did win 44 games, 1 defeat, 1 draw as well. Then followed by Ajax and Monaco. So 3 getting promoted, 3 that got demoted last season, all virtually remaining the same. But look at them and how many goals were scored last season. Unbelievable tally. So yeah, really domination season from them. Right, moving on to the French League, League One Conforma. Again, Olympia Lyons, again, they are the champions in Season 2 for this experiment. Mersil, the team that took over from PSG, came home in 3rd. Bournemouth, 10th. Villa, 11th, so very much making themselves as very good midfield and mid-table teams. Looking at the league below them, no real surprises. Bundesliga now, let's have a look. And Burnley moving up into 7th, Palace up into 6th, so not bad. Wolfsburg win the league in their 2nd season, so yeah, they take over then. Brighton remaining in 12th. Norwich, didn't they get relegated last season? How does relegation work in like these Bundesliga? I really do not understand how it works in the German league. It's mind-boggling. Anyway, Lazio wins again the Serie A team. Then Everton coming home as best English team in 5th. Then Wolves in 7th. Again, no real surprises. I wouldn't like to say. Just having a quick look to see if there's any English teams in Classio B. No, there isn't. So, yeah. Now, jumping ship to the Dutch League. Again, another season. Then there. West Ham wins their 2nd Dutch League title in a row. That is a brilliant record then for them. You know, they'll be very rich by the time they're finished. Yeah. Watford having a much better season actually this season. 7th, the highest non-Spanish league team. Then Southampton finishing in 10th. Going down into La Liga, the 2nd division. Smart Bank, La Liga Smart Bank, and it was Sheffield United who don't come out on top. They come out 2nd then, but they do get re-promoted back into the La Liga Spanish 1st division then there. So yeah, quite interesting indeed, I have to say. Some very interesting results. If you want me to continue with this series of like sort of testing the waters of how it would, I will do more on it. But yeah, you know, that's all for today then, folks. I hope you enjoy this sort of like experiment. And yeah, it is certainly interesting even to watch as a bystander. I know I'm not doing anything to make it, you know, go Barcelona's way, but yeah, very interesting indeed. Thank you, have a great day, see you next time.